Hi, I'm Andy Falco of the Infamous Stringdusters, and I'm going to show you some of my tour gear. We're going to start here with the guitars. What I have here on this tour, this is my main touring guitar right now. It's made by Dana Bourgeois Guitars up in Maine, and it's a custom guitar that they built for me. I've had it a little over a year. And it is, similar to a D28 style instrument. A couple custom things about it. I prefer like a really simple, plain guitar. I don't like a lot of fancy trims and stuff. I like the wood to sort of be the aesthetically the focal point. So you see, there's no fingerboard dots or anything on it. It's just plain ebony, just plain. Purfling and binding and stuff, no herringbone or anything like that. This wood is spruce top, and this is just Indian rosewood back and sides. A beautiful actual set of Indian rosewood, mahogany neck, yeah, they picked out beautiful wood, and I think that's one of Bourgeois' fortes, along with a lot of the great builders. I also have a Collings, which is my other main guitar, and this one is my main touring one right now. And another custom aspect to it that relates to the touring is I use a microphone on the inside as well as a Fishman pickup under the saddle. So what I did with my Collings is I actually had the microphone can't wire to the jack, so I had a wire taped to the top. When they built this one, we thought about that ahead of time. So you can see there's a microphone clipped on the inside, and then that has its own output here that was integrated into the design from the build. And then this is your regular Fishman DI output, and so that is my Bourgeois. It's a custom D. And so the strings that are on here are my favorite, which is D'Addario. And these are D'Addario EXP17, so it's a .013 on the top. And they're considered medium gauge, but that's what they're called, but they're actually, heavy, I would say, for most people. And the D'Addario strings, I'm from Long Island, they're on Long Island, so I've been playing them all my life. And, I love those strings, and so they're on all of my instruments. And this is a Moody strap, which is really fine leather. And so I have these straps on most of my instruments. This is an Elliott Capo, which is a really nice handmade capo. And the capo is sort of an important part of playing bluegrass and acoustic music. Shifting that capo around for different sonic sounds of the instrument. And then we can, then I can show you my other guitar. So that's my main axe, my main touring guitar. And this one is by a company called Canon, who built this for me last year, and they're in the Pacific Northwest, and it's a really cool guitar. This one has mahogany back and sides, and this is kind of acts as a spare guitar, sometimes like an alternate tune guitar. And it's a really, really cool guitar as well that they built, and very similar, as you can see, as I like, very simple appointments, but nice wood and nice build. And this is a really nice guitar. They actually don't build acoustic guitars anymore. They're making Telecasters these days for Thompson guitars. But I got this one before they stopped making acoustic guitars, so I bring this one out with me as a spare on tours like this. Okay, so a main guitar tuning would be E, A, D, G, B, D. Sorry, E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay. That's like your main, standard guitar tuning. Sometimes I play in a dadgad tuning, which is just, as you would think, D-A-D, G-A-D. And sometimes I have like a special capo that actually D'Addario makes, which is, this capo is designed to be able to emulate a dadgad tuning just by, it only sort of capos those, so that's what a dadgad tuning would sound like, open. Now the difference, I don't always use it because then the fingerings would be standard fingerings, because you didn't change any of the tuning of the instrument. It's just really a capo thing. But it comes in handy on some of the dadgad tunes so that I don't have to retune the whole instrument. I can just slap this capo on. So, one of our more popular songs is called Let It Go, which is just guitar and fiddle and voices, and I use that tuning on this, but because it's really kind of chordy, I'm able to just use this capo so I can do it really quick. So out of my guitar, it goes to the wireless packs because everything's wireless, but doesn't necessarily have to be wireless. But essentially, what I do is I go directly, the pickup goes directly into a Fishman Aura, where I have patches, and it's a modeler basically, so that it makes it sound a little bit less pickup-y and a little bit more like a natural guitar. And then that goes into one of the channels of this Grace Felix, which is a preamp, 2-channel preamp blender. So the DI goes into this and then into one of the channels of this. And then this is just the spare guitar, you know, so I have an A-B switch so I can select between the two, and both of those go into the same, DIs go into the same channel. Now, I have microphones on both of those guitars as well. So the microphone goes just basically into the other channel of this. I have a microphone and a DI blend. Now, each one of these, the beauty of the Felix is that those come out of my Felix independently. So our engineer Drew Becker is able to just mix it however he sees fit in the front house. And in my ears, I use about a 50-50 blend between the microphone and the DI, and it brings back a little bit of the response. Then there's an effects loop that runs through, you know, the whole thing. So, and the effects that I have mainly are, I have a micropog, which is an octave, and the way I use that is I just actually use, for the most part, just a little bit of the low octave kind of blended in there to give a little bit of weight to the notes. Sometimes on like a slower tune I'll use that. I have a distortion here, Soulfood Distortion, which I use occasionally, you know, maybe once a night or something occasionally. And it's just that, it's a distortion if I'm looking for like a little bit more sustain, a little bit more of like a rock and roll sound. I have a Vertigo tremolo, which I use on some things, as well as a Corona chorus, TC electronic chorus. And then most importantly, I would say on my effects board, aside from the Aura and the Felix, as far as effects go, the most important one I think is the delay, and I use this Strymon Brigadier, it's like an analog delay. And I use that on a lot of stuff for rhythm and for color and stuff like that. And then over here, this is sort of like the percussion section. So this is actually a MIDI trigger. And what I have on there is a kick drum, because oftentimes on the recordings I'll add a little bit of kick drum underneath the bass. And so that's actually, what's on here is the actual kick drum off of the record, our latest record. And so it triggers that sound, so it acts dynamically as well, like if I hit it harder it gets louder and stuff. So that's sort of the kick drum that I hit with my foot. And then this is, you know, a tambourine that I can play on, I use this on a few songs, and it just allows me to be able to play guitar and, you know, play tambourine for a few things that I do that on. So that's sort of that little section there. And then of course, this is my fan, which keeps me cool because I'm hot-natured, and it really does actually, you know, sometimes the lights on stage can get pretty hot. So I like to have a fan, you know, to keep me cool. And this is the other style of kick drum. Now this is like a porch board, and I used to use one of these too. This is Travis's, our bass player. So it's a similar thing that this does, except this is a sample of the actual kick drum that's mixed on our record. This is like a thump that happens. It's doesn't sound like a kick drum really. It's just more of like a low end sort of stomp kind of thump. And he uses this in a similar way that I use that on certain songs. And then, you know, everything goes through, you know, like I said, we're wireless, but it doesn't have to be, you know, but these are my wireless packs that I'm going to put on my guitar, and this is for the mic, see, Falco mic, and this is for the DI. And then those, you know, come out of the instruments and go to that. But I could also just hardwire stuff directly right into that with cables. Like as I do with my spare, I have a wireless thing for the microphone, but you can see there's just a regular cable here going into that, just because, you know, I don't really need to have it on wireless. And plus it's good to have, sometimes you can have issues with wireless frequencies and stuff every now and again, so it's nice to have like a hardwired setup just in case. and then my microphone, you know, which is, you know, obvious. That's pretty self-explanatory. And he showed you, I think, but it has the gate that sort of opens and closes as you stand up, so that you don't have to get all of that ambient house noise, which can make your mix sound really washy, and then it makes it really hard to hear the music. You know, imagine like putting a lot of echo and reverb on a mix. You know, it'd be hard to actually hear the groove. So that helps a lot with that. So my in-ears I use, actually, you know, I've had a lot of I've had molds and stuff like that, but for me personally, I actually just I use regular Shure 535 generic, and I use these, I forget what these are called, but these are like some, you know, they're like a little bit longer than the standard, and it gives me a really good seal. What it's all about with the in-ears is, it's all about the seal, you know, and if you have like earbuds at home, you could do it. It's like the difference between, like, if you just have your earbuds, like your iPod things, sitting there, they sound one way, but it's actually like if you push them a little bit like into your ear to seal it off, you'll hear all of a sudden you get all this bass response and everything. And that's ultimately what you want with this, is you want it, the seal, to be really tight so that it stays consistent, or else like even sometimes when you smile, it can like open the gap, and then and all of a sudden you lose your bass response, and then it comes back. So that's why I prefer just like the regular foamies. And then this is kind of cool too, because, you know, our monitor engineer will be over there, and he controls everything that we hear. Our front house engineer, of course, is in the front. But when we need to talk to our engineer about something, let's say I need a little less guitar in my ears, I could talk to him. I could just walk up to this mic and say, "Hey Cameron, can you put my guitar up or down or whatever?" We can talk to him through that, and then this microphone is actually goes to all of our ears. So if I want to talk to the band, because obviously if you have these things in your ears, you can't always hear easily. So if we're playing and somebody needs to talk to the band or needs to make a change to the set list or something, and this one, since it goes to our ears for the same reason we have those gates on those mics, we actually have a foot pedal. So that opens the microphone, and we're able to talk to everybody in the band this way. That's kind of like the way this whole stage works, you know. So it's not I guess it's not the typical type of office that people have, but this is our office, and we love it. We wouldn't have it any other way, and this is sort of the view that you get, which is really fun, you know. So our record comes out, Rise Sun, April 5th. We're really excited about it. Can't wait for you to hear it. Check out our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Facebook, and you can find all about the band, where we're going to be. But definitely please check out our record, and we'll see you on the road sometime soon.